The last time that you and I sat was January of last year, which feels like it was a long time ago. And then again, it feels like it was 5 minutes ago. In that moment that you and I sat in the sound space downstairs, you were going to release Lost. Where was Linkin Park in your head? Where did you stand with this entire thing that's happening now?
Basically, what's important to remember, or what's important to know here is that we didn't have like a moment where we said, hey, let's get the band back together. We didn't have a moment where we said, let's try out singers. People had suggested stuff like that, not suggested as much as like, hey, is this an idea that you like? Like they floated things by us. One of which, by the way, which is my favorite, I talk about this all the time now, is like one person, a couple people were like, what if you did like an American Idol voice style competition and like the winner is like the singer? Like that's the opposite of what we wanted to do, or it's the opposite of what we felt was like the right thing. Because our band is built on like natural chemistry and relationships, and it's just very important. I think that like probably around the time that you're talking about, I bet Dave and Joe and I in the very beginning had started talking more often, and we were just like, what if we get together and we just like start making some things, like making some music? It doesn't have to be Linkin Park. Let's just get together and be creative and have fun. And that's what we did. So back then it was more about like just spending more time together. And then the more time evolved into songs, and the songs evolved into let's invite some other people in and see how that feels. And eventually we got to the point where it's like that girl, Emily, the stuff we make with her is special. Like, I don't know why it's special. It just feels special. And even though the things we've made are good, I bet we make stuff that's great with her if we just do it more often. We also met Colin, who's playing drums for us now. Colin is a writer and producer that I met in a session, like some random session a few years ago, and just instantly clicked with him. And so once the six of us all started to get together with Brad and Joe and Dave, it was like, it just slowly came into focus.
What would you say was the most or the next most significant moment or a turning point with all of you when this started to become more of a reality? Like, this isn't just that we're in a room and we feel good together and this makes sense. What was the next significant moment?
I bet everybody has different answers to this. I might even have different answers to it. I think for me, the first one that comes to mind is, well, I mean, there were a couple songs, and Emptiness Machine is one of them. There was a couple songs where when we did them in the form that you hear on the record, like when on Emptiness Machine, for example, when we put Emily's vocal, when Emily sang on it, the song was at that point was pretty written. And we had been making new songs with her from scratch. And we're like, oh, you know what? Will you sing on this one that we've already done? Like, just learn the words and whatever. And she came in and crushed it. And we were like, that's a Linkin Park song. Like, you can't listen to that song and say it's anything else. Like, it was at that point too, we were like considering, should we call this a different band name? Do we need like one singer? Maybe we got like multiple people like playing different roles and stuff. And when she was singing on certain things, it sounded so much like the band. It just, for me, I was just like, that feels good. Like, I don't know, I can't be logical about it. It's an illogical thing. It just feels good.
I think about her journey and her experience a lot, especially yesterday, because all of you are going to have a unique experience, but Emily has, in a way, more eyes on her. And some of them critical, some of them, she's just doing something that somebody else was doing before her. So she's going to be watched in a different way. Have you talked to her about that? Did you give her any advice? And where does she stand?
We've all talked about it
Yeah.
with each other and with her a million times. And we're still talking about it. Like, I appreciate one difficult thing that people are experiencing is just that they've heard Linkin Park for so long with Chester's voice, and the idea of somebody else being in that role feels really different, you know? Um, I know that in the context of the music that's not released yet, like I know that I love it. Like I think her voice is incredible. And the best thing for people who have such a strong connection to Chester to know, just to know about me, is that Chester was a one of a kind person and a one of a kind voice. And Emily is also a one of a kind person and a one of a kind voice. Like she's not trying to be him, she's trying to be her. And it so happens that I think she singing on these songs sounds like Linkin Park.
Let's talk about From Zero, because when I heard her sing Mike yesterday specifically, everything you just said resonates because yes, it sounds like Linkin Park, but I see Emily. You can't not see Emily. So let's talk about From Zero and what was the energy that like quarterbacked that album that makes it new again.
A lot of things. We we definitely like started with a lot of very like a bunch of music that was all over the place. Like it's different, almost like different genres or something. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't not that extreme, but it was the sounds of the songs were very disparate. Like they were very all over the place. And then as has happened before, like I'm usually in the driver's seat to a large degree on the records. I have a producer credit on this one. We didn't work with another producer. And the what I was noticing as we started to like get everybody's feedback on like what things they liked, what things they didn't like, what parts of songs were their favorite and least favorite. As we were implementing everybody's ideas, like the album was naturally coming into more of a focus, and the the band became clear at the same time that the music became clear. Isn't that weird? Like imagine you're making an album, but you don't know what the band is.
Can't
And then
even
as you're
imagine.
making the songs, you go, this is the band. So strange.
I mean, it's one of those things that I think are meant to be. If the energy is right in the room, you get to the point that you're talking about, which it had to have been so validating for you to feel that because you're like, oh my God, we put the right pieces together.
Yeah.
That must
I
have been
just
an
really,
incredible
I mean,
moment.
it's on a really like stupid and straightforward note.
Yeah.
I just like the sound of Emily's voice. Like that's like such a simple thing, but when we had some demos that other people tried, other people sang, and I'm talking about like people you don't know. It wasn't like, you know, um, just to say it's ridiculous. It wasn't like Ariana Grande. It was like it's
Right,
like
right.
it was like people you don't know. We had people try it. We would people sing them, and I felt like the thing that was missing, the thing that was obviously there when Emily sang it, that was different, is that when she sings, she taps into this honest emotion in the inflection of her voice and the presentation and the way she does it. It's raw. It's visceral and it's like honest in a way that very few people can do. And I really like I gravitate towards singers that when I hear it, I just personally believe them. And she taps into things in the lyrics, even if she didn't write a lyric, she taps into a presentation of it in a way that I think makes the song better.
We got to see it yesterday. Finally, we got to see it and you got to experience it. Yesterday was the first time, I'm assuming, well, I think I know that you were all on stage with fans, with that, the complete energy in the room. So we got to see it. Did you have a moment yesterday? You had the biggest smile on your face. I know that Mike smile. That's like that, like the giddy Mike smile. You were wearing it yesterday, but I'm sure you were nervous and all the things. But did you have a moment that you looked around that maybe stood out more than others?
Well, when we first, at the beginning of the set, like I was like, I can't remember being so nervous.
Wow.
And I don't get nervous for shows usually, but I was like, yeah, my brain was like scrambled eggs. And then getting out there and seeing the fans and starting the first song, which is the Emptiness Machine, the new song. That was just so, it was so reaffirming. Like it was just like, oh, this is where this belongs. Like this is what I do. It connected pieces that weren't connected yet.
Yeah.
And the fans being there is a part of the puzzle that's so important, right? Like singing it in a room by myself, I focus a lot on like the craftsmanship of the song. But singing in a room with people, I focus almost completely on like if I have rehearsed enough, then I'm focusing completely on my connection with them
Yeah.
and their faces and their like they couldn't sing along to the song. They didn't know the song, they're just listening. And to see the look on their faces as we got into it was really, really special. I will never forget it. It was so special. I can't wait. Like, and as you know, like we've got a show here in LA on the 11th at the Forum.
In just a few days,
And
which the turnaround time is nuts.
yeah, so the tickets are tickets went on sale. The tickets go on sale today. They're just starting to sell pre-sale to the fan club right now. And the reaction is like so far really strong. We don't know, like what would we know, like if people want to see this or not? Like we've been away for years, we've got a different lineup. Like I don't know, people would be like, I don't, care. And for them to come back so strong and affirm the band is like the biggest blessing in the world. So I'm so grateful for that. I also know that the show we did on the live stream yesterday was 60 minutes on a stage that was designed for that live stream. And the show we're going to do at the Forum is over 2 hours and it's different production. So believe me when I tell you, like, we've put in so much time and work into what these things that you're seeing right now, like it's years of work, and thank goodness that it didn't leak.
Which is unbelievable. I'll ask you one more thing before we wrap it up, and just because I want to include Chester, if he could, and I know he is in some way, but if we know that he's watching, what do you think he would think about all that's happening right now? Because I think he'd be stoked.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Well, like a couple things about Chester that I know is that he would never like he was an open-minded person when it came to music he liked. He would like, and so the idea that the band being fronted by a female singer is something that I feel like he would have come up with the idea. He would have been, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
'cause he was never like, I don't know. I feel like there's some dudes who are like sexist about their rock and roll, and none of us have ever been that way. Funny side note, actually, funny piece of trivia. We didn't need to change any lyrics to any of the songs that Emily is singing because there's no he, she, whatever.
Wow.
It's all relatively ambiguous. So strangely, she doesn't ever have to change a he or a she.
That is really cool.
Anyway, so that just popped in my mind. Sorry for the
Okay.
sidetrack. But yeah, to your point, like I said something to the fans last night, that my hope is that Emily can be Emily, and if you're feeling like a connection to Chester when you're listening to the music, then let that come through you. I think he can come through his singing can come through the mouths of the crowd, as opposed to like putting Emily in that weird position. I think the best thing for her to do is her to be herself, and obviously, like we all love what Chester, how Chester sang and what he meant to the band. So that goes without saying.
I want to leave it on that note because I think what you said, I haven't heard anybody phrase it like this. The fans can sing for Chester's voice or through Chester, and Emily can be Emily. And I think that's where we leave it because this is a beautiful thing that you're building on. And I'll see you at the forum. But, buddy, here we go. This is going to be amazing.
Awesome, man. I'm so excited. Thank
I
you.
know. I could see it in your face. And yesterday, when I was watching the live stream, like it almost looked like your cheeks were going to hurt at the end of the performance because you did
Mm,
smile big, dude. And
yeah.
it's nice to see that again.
Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. All right. I'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon.